Hello YouTubers, today I'm going to show you how to fix your Samsung TV that has a blinking red light at the corner here. Now, I've heard this is common with Samsung TVs and I've seen it before too. So, I'm going to show you the red light when I plug it in. Look at that. Now, what this TV is trying to do is it's trying to turn on, but you know what the failure is? I'll show you it on the back of the set. We have a bulgy capacitor right there. That's your problem, is a bulgy capacitor. And I actually have a replacement on hand, which that's an extra bonus. Got a guy right there I'm going to replace it with. Now this is at 25 volts, that guy at 1000 microfarads. I have one at 1500. I'm going to stick a higher value because it'll last longer, and this is at 6.3 volts. And I actually got these for that POS computer that I had to recap because most of the caps went bad due to a bad surge. I've always noticed for some reason that capacitors go bad on this side of the set, right next to these transistors and this transformer. They always go bad right here. None of these other guys, including this big guy, they never go bad. It's always these guys. Now, this is only one capacitor because the rest of them look all fine. It's that one guy right there. And I'll see if you guys can get I'll give you a close-up, because this camera's being kind of blurry today for some reason. There's your bulgy way out right here. That guy is the problem. Now, the TV may act weird after that, because if you've been leaving it plugged in, doing the same thing over and over and over again, well, your TV's gonna have some issues. It's gonna have some issues over time with pops coming out of the speakers and all that kind of stuff. But it'll still work. It'll still do its job, but every time you turn the set on and off, it's gonna probably pop through the speakers. Or if you're lucky, it may not do that, but I'm gonna go in my workshop and bring this set in there. Actually, no, I'm going to take this board out and then bring it in there. And I'm going to get this old junky capacitor out of here and replace it with this better quality one. Saying that Samsung's known to have bulgy caps happen in the flat screen power supply. So, I'm going to take this out and then I'll get back to you when I'm in the workshop. Okay, so I'm back with you guys with the board out of the TV. It looks like somebody serviced this before. See that? See the residue right there between that pin and this pin? It looks like somebody replaced the cap there before. But they use the same brand as the Samsung did, but you know, I gotta put better in this TV. So I got this old Rubicon capacitor that I got from eBay a few years back. Gotta put better in there. It's a genuine Rubicon capacitor right there. So I'm sticking that guy on that board and it'll fit. I want to use a better brand for this set because, come on, Samsung, gotta put better caps in your products. That's all I have to say. So I'm gonna put that guy in here. I'll see if I can. Yeah, let me lower this for you guys so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Sorry I have to do it like that because my tripod broke, so yeah. That's all I got for right now for you guys. Got my old Radio Shack soldering iron and my solder sucker. Some solder on hand here. So I'm gonna go right here and make sure not to touch that chip. Gotta press down on this stuff if it's been a while since it's been done, so it becomes real liquidy. Sometimes you gotta be patient with your solder sucker. So it looks like somebody just soldered this back in because it might have been loose at another time. Or they might have just replaced the cap with the same brand because, you know, they're too cheap to get better capacitors. Because that's just how companies are nowadays. They like to make profit with you buying new products after your product failed after a few months of use. That's sad. I have to say that is very sad. But there's some of us like me that know this stuff very well and we know how to fix it, so that's always a good thing. And then you don't have to go out and buy another $300 flat screen at stores. Especially if you get these sets from Walmart. Walmart's known to have very bad quality TVs. And they break right away after a few months of use. Either a bulgy caps or the logic board going bad. So now I have to see if this capacitor will come out. Almost there. We have it loose, so that's pretty good. So what I have right here is a flathead soldering tool I have to pry that cap out, because sometimes that solder's just too hard to get out and suck all up into the solder suckers. So you have to pry them out like that. Now, if you guys are running into this issue and if you don't know what you're doing, don't do this. If you don't know what you're doing, don't just put random capacitors in your TV set. Get the right one or get one similar to the value. Because if you put random capacitors, well, you're gonna break your TV more, and you all don't want that. You'll break your TV. You'll be mad at yourself, and you don't want that. Take it to a technician. I know it's gonna cost money. So I'll pause the video here and I'll get back to you when I'm done taking that capacitor. So after a few tugs with the screwdriver in my bare hands, I got this capacitor out. Now, this is a very silly branch capacitor right here. W7A PET capacitor. That's a very stupid and silly name for a capacitor brand. Now, these are pieces of junk, including Capscom. I noticed Capscom capacitors go bad after a few months of use. We gotta put better right here, and it's rolling away. So now, I have to line the leads up. Now, keep in mind, you guys, when you pull the capacitors out, see that white line right there? Those white lines on this side? That's your negative side. That side's your positive. You do not want to, you never ever want to hook up capacitors the wrong way, because that's how you bulge them. This is your negative, that's your positive. That's how it is with capacitors. Capacitors are polarity sensitive. So now, see this side here? See the square on the side of the capacitor with the gold? That's your negative. You're going to want to stick it in like this. Line up your pins. You may have to tug it in the hole, but see this? That's how you put your capacitor in. You need to know that, because you will bulge your capacitor and you're not going to be very happy of your project you did. So that's how you put your new capacitor in. Now we have to solder it in and clip the leads so there's no shorting happening. Here's my two leads coming out the back. Right there. My two new leads. Now, what I usually do, some of you may do this differently, but I do mine this style. I solder the capacitor with the long leads in place. And then I clip them when I'm done. So, I'm going to go back out right here, heat this little spot up. See all that smoke coming off? You want to fill that little hole in, because if you don't, well, you're going to have a loose capacitor. And you're going to run into more issues with your TV. And you don't want it to be a big expensive fix. Because honestly, it's not worth dropping a lot of money on a TV set nowadays. It really isn't. Because they're so cheap. So I got those settled in place. Now, you want to make sure that the solder isn't touching any other solder points in there, because you don't want shorting to happen. Now I'm going to get my tool right here. I always use these pliers to cut the leads off because it's easier on the component and it cuts real quick. See, this is an easy tool to use. See, I always use this tool to cut this. So yeah, had this tool for a really long time, and one day I just used it when I was first doing this, and it worked out very well, and ever since then I've been using that tool. I want to make sure that your solder is settled in place. You don't want it to be very poorly done. So that's good. And when you're soldering too, make sure you have a holder for your soldering iron like that, so you don't burn your table. And always have a wet piece of paper towel or rag next to your soldering iron so you can clean your tip off like this, just to make your tip last longer. And some of you may be familiar with that rule with your soldering iron. Some of you have good habits doing that like me. So got it all right there, right next to that chip right there. So I'll bring this board back in the house, and I need to put this back together. And all you do is clip this guy back in. And I'll show you guys this. So here's your plastic holder here. And just clips right into that hole right there. Clips to the board. Lord forbid they could use some metal right here, but you know, plastic is the way of building stuff nowadays. They could use metal clips. I'm not joking. So, got this all together. There's my new cap right there. All the rest of these guys are fine. And get rid of this piece of junk. Throw it away in my trash. Like that. Get rid of that junky capacitor. Don't reuse it for anything. And safety first. Unplug your soldering iron. Unplug it when you're not in the room. So now, I'll get back to you guys while I'm in my other room putting the TV back together. I'm back in my other room. I got all my wires right here. There's only like 5 wires to connect on this board right here. So how the board was, it just sat in these little metal holders here, like that. Just slides right in, easy as that. There's only 4 screws, like this guy here. That guy went in there. That guy went in there. My guy went there. And always keep your screws with you, because if you lose a screw, well, you're going to be in trouble. So keep your screws with you at all times, because you don't want to put the wrong screws in, you know, break the logic board. Screwed right in there. You'll be all good to go. This stuff's easy, you guys. People that don't know a lot about technology, if they don't know very much about it, that's not their fault. So there's some of us like me, like I told you in the video, that know this stuff very well about capacitors. If you decide to do this without knowing what you're doing, well, you're gonna screw your TV up, and that's it. Your TV's done. You don't want to get the wrong value. You want to stay near the value as possible. Don't be going out and getting the wrong capacitors and putting them in the board the wrong way and frustrating yourself, getting angry at yourself. Oh no, you don't want that. That's not what this is for. You have to have patience too with soldering. You don't want to rush your soldering, because if you do, well, you're gonna burn stuff on the board. So you don't want to burn any components, burn chips especially, or transistors. So now I got all my 4 screws screwed in there. Connect that wire there. That goes straight to this logic board, and this one also goes to this logic board too. Got that guy there. Here's the high voltage board. Connect that here, like that. Now you got your power, your mains going in here, your earth ground. Biggest one, always hook your earth ground up, otherwise you're gonna get a nasty shock if you don't. So got that all hooked up. So now I'm gonna put this TV together and put it on channel 3 that I broadcast on, and I'll get back to you when I'm done. So I'm putting the TV back together. I want to show you guys this. Now you got all your screw holes right on the sides. Some of these TV sets have a hidden screw like in the middle of these RCA ports and component ports. So when you open it, look really good in the RCA ports. You'll find a screw, and Samsung hides screws very well. Don't pry your TV open, because if you pry it, well, you're risking of breaking components and breaking your logic board especially. There's that one right there that holds the RCA ports in place from going all the way back out in the back. So you don't want that. And then this screw as well. So got this right here. I'm not gonna fully put it together just in case, but this should be the problem, is the capacitor. So I'll get back to you when I'm done hooking this coaxial cable to that port to channel 3 right there, or broadcast on. So get back to you when I'm done. Hello YouTubers. So I got the TV set plugged in. Look at this. No blinking red light. It's staying on. So I got a video source hooked up right here through the coaxial, which is channel 3. I have the computer broadcasting all the way back out from over there, where everything is modulated over to the TV set. So I'm going to turn on the TV. There you go. Look at, got a picture right here. HDMI 1. There's no cable signal, so this fixed it. And I'll show you that I have to change a channel, so let me go down to source. So I got a static channel right here. I have to go to channel 3. There you go. Got this all working. This is broadcasting on channel 3 from my computer over here. So that's how you guys fix the Samsung red blink of death, as I will call it, from a capacitor. That's all it was a capacitor. Always go for the better capacitors for the Samsung. because they'll make it last longer until other components start to fail. I hope this video is really helpful to all you viewers out there that experience this problem. Subscribe.